I have spent a lot of time with the topic of this video. I embarked upon this journey about 6 months ago. The focus of that time was not just what I wanted to say, but also who I wanted to say it to. Long story short, if you are an avid video game player, if you play hours of video games every week, and you have the inkling that maybe this isn't the best use of your time, or you're fed up with your procrastination and you feel like you can't get anything done because your desire to play video games is overpowering everything else, all I ask is for 10 to 15 minutes of your time. And if that's not you for any reason, just go ahead and click off the video. Video games are not what they used to be. They used to be simple. They used to be social. They used to be a secondary activity to the other things you would do hanging out with your friends. Video games were made for kids. That is not the case anymore. Video gaming is an industry that, of course, wants to make as much money as possible, and they will do so by any means necessary. Luckily for them, you can play video games on essentially anything with a screen. I truly don't know if there is a single modern vice more pervasive than video games. They are everywhere. Back in the day, you'd have to take yourself to the arcade and put coins in a machine to play a game. Now, we have home consoles, handheld consoles, computer games, mobile games. Not only are there games everywhere in this age, there are games designed and marketed to every single possible demographic. Whether it's the shooter for the edgy teenager, an AI anime waifu simulator for the late 20s/early 30s NEET, or Candy Crush for your grandma. There is something for everyone at any time. Video games are a perfect example of what used to be a kid activity that has become an everyone activity. In fact, right now, 65% of adults play video games. Sadly, I couldn't look into that data anymore without paying. So that's all you're going to get. Now, there's of course plenty of established criticism on video games. The resistance to said criticism is easy to understand. They are fun. They are a lot of fun. On the surface, they seem harmless. And on top of that, historically speaking, the people who criticize them are old and stupid and do so on illegitimate grounds. Because obviously, the reason a teenager would commit an unbelievable atrocity to his own classmates has everything to do with those damn shoot-'em-up games on his computer, and absolutely nothing to do with the undercover federal agent he was in constant contact with. Now, the position that I come from, on the contrary, is of someone who grew up playing video games. I have a combined 1,400 hours across all of my Steam games. I probably played at least another 4,000 hours of Minecraft, which I played for the greater part of a decade, and God knows how many hours between my Wii, DS, Game Boy, and GameCube. And I can tell you from my position at the age of 22, after a decade of playing video games, that all of that time and money spent has amounted to nothing more than a heightened ability to make cultural references and worthwhile, meaningful memories scarce enough that I could probably count them on my hands. That is the honest truth. Did I have a lot of fun? Yes. But in hindsight, there are a lot of other things I wish I would have done with that time. And very importantly, all of the memories I've held on to have nothing to do with acquiring that achievement or finally beating that final boss. All of them revolve around people. The social aspect of video games. I don't remember all the games I won, but I do remember the time my entire team spontaneously decided to all play Spy on Thunder Mountain. Or the time I became the de facto God King dictator of a capture the flag Minecraft server for about 48 hours. Besides that, besides the fun interactions with people, the constant dopamine hits that those years of video games has given me has amounted to nothing. This is an important question to ask yourself. What exactly gives you the real joy when playing video games? The game itself or the people? Moving on. This is where I get into the main course of the video, nicely accented by poorly executed references. Your brain works to adapt and literally rewire itself to be better at the things that you do, especially those things that give you the strongest chemical rewards. It does this because, historically speaking, those are the things that have kept you alive. In real-life activities, those reward chemical hits come in more or less a proper, timely manner. You don't get to see the fruits of your hard work immediately. You need to be able and willing to delay gratification, and when they do come, they are in proper proportion to the difficulty and significance of the task. This is how the real world works. Your incremental progress is difficult, if not impossible, to track, but hard work pays off in the end. But in video games, every single incremental improvement is tracked, and you as the player get that chemical reward hit every single level up, every single incremental achievement. There is really no delayed gratification in video games. Finally beating the Ender Dragon is really not that significant. You are getting strong hits of dopamine the entire time. It is for this reason you get addicted to video games. You are effectively a druggie, looking for those chemical hits. It is for this same reason that video games slowly become less enjoyable over time. The druggie needs bigger and bigger dose just to get his high. You, as a video game player, need more and more dopamine hits to satisfy that chemical craving. This is also why finishing a video game never really feels as rewarding as you think it will be. Because once you've beaten the Elite Four, there's nothing really to do that's going to give you a big enough dopamine hit anymore. Once you leave the video game world, all of that mastery completely evaporates. I went to Corona Mountain and I beat the final Bowser, and I felt nothing. This is really the main reason I fell out of playing video games. There was simply nothing I could do to make them fun anymore. And whenever I would get back into a game and then stop playing, I would be left with this weird hangover feeling. Like, yeah, that dessert was delicious, but I ate too much and it made me sick. So now I can't think about the game without feeling sick. I literally cannot play games anymore unless it is on a special occasion with friends. Otherwise, it is simply not enjoyable. Now, I want to note here that during my time spent thinking about this issue, I have changed my mind a couple times. First, I thought video games could be played more or less in moderation. I was actually of the opinion that playing video games was better than watching something as a form of relaxation, because at least video games are active, but I don't really believe that to be the case anymore. For starters, it is utterly crucial to understand that because of the chemical reward process we discussed earlier, the time you spend with video games is not just the time you spend playing video games. If you watch a really good movie, the characters and themes will stick with you in a positive way. But shortly afterwards, once the movie is turned off, you're done. You're moved on. But video games, they don't leave your mind as soon as you click off. Your brain will continue to process that information. You will be thinking about what you want to do next time you play. You might even dream about the game. You've logged off, but your brain is still coding the information it's learned about this world that doesn't exist. It is still actively rewiring itself to make you more successful at this game. The constant overstimulation of video games literally takes control and hijacks your brain. What that means is that if there are things you want to learn, things you want to get done, things you want to achieve, video games are going to get in your way. Your progress on your other tasks that don't give you constant dopamine hits is going to be stunted. How are you supposed to study, work, and learn, do anything for that matter that requires delayed gratification when you are frying your dopamine receptors? That is a question you need to ask yourself, and do so honestly. Around the same time that I was playing insane amounts of Minecraft a decade ago, I also got a guitar for Christmas. Thank you, Santa. For an entire decade, I have owned that guitar, and I have, to this day, never advanced past a novice level because when I should have been practicing, I was playing Minecraft. Because learning an instrument is hard and not very rewarding initially, but Minecraft is easy and way more chemically rewarding in the short term. I am still, to this day, kept up late at night thinking about all of the social gatherings and parties I could have ruined by bringing my acoustic guitar and just playing the chorus of Wonderwall over and over again. That occupies about an hour of my time every single night. And then at some point, towards the tail end of that hour, I then of course realize that I never got invited to parties. So there's never actually an opportunity to carry out that fantasy of ruining a party with said acoustic guitar. The thousands of hours of playtime most of us have, that is enough time to have achieved an advanced level of proficiency in basically any musical instrument. That is enough time to be an absolute unit in the gym. Put 5,000 hours into something, you are going to be good at it. Put that much time into something you care about, that is going to be way more rewarding than video games in the long term. But it's going to take a lot of delayed gratification to get there. Or just think about it like this. If you worked for 5,000 hours at $10 an hour, leaving out taxes because taxes are gay, that's $50,000. Let that sink in for a second. How much money is your Call of Duty KD worth to you? How much money is the kills on your stat track weapon worth to you? Is it worth $50,000? Probably not. The point is, your time is valuable. It is the most valuable resource you possess. You can always make more money, but you cannot make more time. This is why wasting time is such a big point of my channel. What the modern world takes from you, more than anything else, is your time. And frankly, as someone who has pretty much gone away with all video games except for the rare Blue Moon instance where all the boys are together and we just need to play a quick round of Mario Kart, I don't understand how anyone has the time for them. It really feels like an adult responsibility thing. Once you have become an adult and you have things to pay for and people you are responsible for, where do you find the time to waste? And I understand very well the need for rest and recreational activities. Don't get me wrong, but video games is not resting. And frankly, gaming is a hobby like binge drinking is a hobby. It is an activity that will actively hinder your performance in everything else. Funny enough, gaming, just like drinking or smoking or overeating, is a vice that people have a proclivity to attach their personality and identity to. They make it part of their identity, which frankly is exactly the same as every other vice that people identify with. You, my friend, have much more important things to attend to. And frankly, that right there is not a statement you want to disagree with, either with your words or with your actions. And truly, this is an issue more important than most realize, because those who seek to destroy you love that you are gaming. They know it keeps you stupid and docile. Don't take it from me. Take it from Yuval Harari of the World Economic Forum.
And then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games. Keep them happy with drugs and computer games.
Remember, my friend, you will get better at the things you do every day. So the question is, what do you want to be? Because you are what you do. And it is always important to remember that your time here is very limited. But if you live well, your deeds will outlive you. But let's be honest. If you died tomorrow, no one would care about your high score. Imagine for a moment that when you die, you'll meet the best person you could have been. And all the things you could have done to become them, you forgoed to play video games. And you are not even worth their shadow.
Those games I played took all of my time away. Don't be so sure that you won't feel the same.